What gave you a spark to get inside medicine, to become a physician?
So interesting story. So I am a Alabama country girl, grew up in rural Black Belt, Alabama, a teeny tiny town that has, I think, maybe about 400 people there. So growing up, you know, you kind of have to make your fun a lot of times. So of course we had toys and stuff like that, but with having so many open fields and things like that outside, bunch of trees, you're always finding stuff to get creative. So there was one day, there were 3 girls in my neighborhood, and we were playing on some old trees that had fallen down, and there were really true story. And there were some tree stumps. So we ended up, I don't know if we were trying to make the tree stumps a stage. I'm not sure, but we each stood on a tree stump. And somehow we started talking about what we wanted to do when we grew up. So when it got to me, I originally said I wanted to be a nurse. So, you know, I was like, okay, I'm on this path to being a nurse. But I was talking to a young lady in my church who was actually going through nursing school at the time, which I didn't know. And so, you know, I was telling her, I was like, hey, I want to be a nurse when I grow up. You know, I was around maybe 6 or so. And she asked me if I had ever thought about being a doctor. And when she said that, I was like, doctor, you know, of course I had a family doctor that was in my town, and it was a man, really nice, but I never thought about doing it myself. So once she said that, you know, it got me thinking, okay, you know, maybe I can be a doctor. And so she was actually, so I knew I wanted to go into health, but she planted that seed to make me think that, hey, I can go into health and also be a doctor. And so later on, I was in middle school, or just before high school, my dad had a health episode where his belly started enlarging and he was having belly pain, and we couldn't figure out what it was. You know, initially, you know, I'm from the country, so we'll say you got gas, maybe take some baking soda or castor oil, something like that, you know, to try to remedy it. And none of those things worked. And so my mom ended up taking him to an ER that was maybe about 30 minutes away from our home. And so from what I gathered at that time, they really just kind of wrote it off, didn't really do a thorough evaluation, and they sent him home. And it still didn't sit right with my mom. So she decided to take him to another ER that was about 2 hours away. So once he went there, you know, they did their evaluation, and after everything came back, they found out that he had a ruptured appendix and ended up having to have surgery. So, wow. You know, at that moment, I was like, okay, I know people make mistakes, but for that to be my dad and for me to be close to my dad, it was at that moment that it was definitely solidified that I need to be a part of the medical field as a doctor and provide care to people, and not only just care, but actually listen, make sure that I don't miss. And of course, we're all humans, so and we're not going to get anything perfect, but you know, that taught me that you should treat all your patients like you would want somebody to treat your family. So that was the definitely like solidifying moment for me to become a doctor.